All right, I think it's just about time to get started with our panel discussion today. We're going to be doing a deep dive into a Giving Tuesday campaign from Fiverr Children's Foundation. So Fiverr, year after year, they've been using us for about 4 years now, have run incredible Giving Tuesday campaigns. And so we're going to be taking a look at what exactly makes their campaigns so successful, so you can glean your own insights for your own campaigns. So today we have Melissa Benjamin joining us from Fiverr. She's the Director of Development at Fiverr Children's Foundation, and I'll be turning it over to her in just a few minutes to really go into the details of last year's campaign and what they really did to make it so successful. Today's webinar is presented by CauseVox. With CauseVox, you could run your online fundraising for just about anything, including Giving Tuesday. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about CauseVox in just a minute. But first, I'll be your host today. My name is Candace. I've spent the last 4.5 years here at CauseVox working as the customer success lead. So I get the pleasure of chatting one-on-one with our customers, helping them get set up with all of their fundraising and going over strategies to help them be successful on our platform. With CauseVox, you're able to do more with less. So our whole mission is to really help you raise more with less effort. So unlike other software that is clunky, complex, expensive, we want to make it less frustrating, less clunky, so you waste less time and effort on administrative tasks. So we tidy up your fundraising for you to help you increase your fundraising results with less effort. So with all of the time and frustration that you save, you have more time to spend engaging with your existing donors and focusing on your fundraising strategies. So ultimately, you can create more impact at your organization. And you can use CauseVox for one or all of your fundraising initiatives. So one of the things that you can do with CauseVox is use us for your donate button. Our donation forms embed right onto your website. They're highly branded and easily make it really easy for your donors to complete their donations. So you can get more donors converted on your website. Another thing you can do is crowdfund with us, easily setting up a branded, customized crowdfunding campaign with all of that back office automation that you are looking for. So automatic receipts, reporting, and things that make it really easy for you to fundraise online. Adding on to that is that you can do peer-to-peer fundraising so that you can acquire more new donors through your existing networks. We see this is incredibly effective. Organizations that use peer-to-peer tend to raise about twice as much online. And it's so easy. Our whole mission is to make it so easy for you to fundraise and your donors and fundraisers to fundraise on your behalf as well. At CauseVox, we've seen thousands of organizations trust our platform to grow their fundraising with less effort and raise millions. Many of these organizations run Giving Tuesday campaigns, and it's so great to work with so many of them and see them be successful during year end, including Giving Tuesday. So to really get us started talking about Giving Tuesday, I want to give you a little bit of a background for anyone that's kind of new to Giving Tuesday. So Giving Tuesday is a global giving movement that was really built by individuals and organizations around the world. So it sort of was born out of this idea of there's Black Friday, there's Cyber Monday, but really it's the giving season, so why not Giving Tuesday, and encouraging a lot of individuals to give back and really show their generosity. And so millions of people have come together to support and champion the causes they believe in on Giving Tuesday. So this year's Giving Tuesday is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019. So mark that on your calendars. We're a few weeks out, but still plenty of time for you to create your campaign and finalize your Giving Tuesday plans so that you can really be successful on Giving Tuesday. And it's really for all types of organizations. So even if you're a small local nonprofit. There's so many opportunities for you to take advantage of Giving Tuesday. So just a few quick stats that you should know. So about 3.6 million gifts were given to charitable causes in Giving Tuesday last year, as well as $400 million was raised online by causes participating in Giving Tuesday. So it's a largely online giving movement. And talking about online fundraising campaigns, we're gonna dive into Fiverr Children's Foundation's campaign. So Melissa Benjamin is the Director of Development at Fiverr Children's Foundation. She's a native of Brooklyn and holds a BS from Johnson & Wales University and an MPA from LIU Brooklyn campus. She has been a successful fundraiser for 12 years and oversees all fundraising and marketing efforts for Fiverr Children's Foundation. So Melissa, I would love to hear more from you about Fiverr and what you do over there on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. So Fiverr, we're a youth development nonprofit organization, and we make a 10-year commitment to the young people in our program. So we work with them from ages 8 through 18. We provide out-of-school time programs throughout the school year that focus on character education, social emotional learning, and then we follow that up with a summer camp experience, which is a 2-week camping experience in upstate New York. Our camp is near Colgate University. We are in the midst of celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. We serve about 500 kids annually, as well as their families through family programming and stuff that we do throughout the year. Yeah, so that's a little bit about Fiverr. And I've been here for a little bit over a year now. Fiverr's participation in Giving Tuesday precedes me joining the organization, but in terms of what we've been doing the past couple of years, definitely been able to build upon the success of the past couple of years.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And so I'll go ahead and share your campaign from last year so we can really dive into a little bit more about that. So can you talk to how your Giving Tuesday campaign fits in with your larger fundraising initiatives and your organization's history with Giving Tuesday?
Sure. So I like to think of our Giving Tuesday campaign as like the digital arm of our annual appeal. So at the end of the year, similar to a lot of nonprofits, we do a mailing asking people to donate. And so Giving Tuesday is kind of the digital piece of that. So obviously we send out blast emails throughout the end of the year for the appeal, but it's also, Giving Tuesday is also a way for us to engage our younger donors. Particularly our Young Professionals Committee, we have another group that's kind of like the graduation from that for like mid-career people called the Advocates. And so we also ask them to participate. We also have a group that is made up of our alumni from the program. So they're also asked to participate as well. And then some of our board members, current board members, also use our Giving Tuesday campaign as like their part of their give get for the organization. So it's kind of a mix of our Fiverr community. It's not just one specific group. It's really a smattering of people from different areas of our constituency base. And so the branding and whatnot for Giving Tuesday, especially last year's one, was connected to our annual appeal. So anything that's like on the banner, some of the copy on the page, things like that, mirrored a lot of what we featured in the letter. Obviously, it was a little bit more condensed here because it's a web page, and we didn't want it to be too wordy, but it did borrow from the overall end of year appeal letter and marketing pieces.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. And so just to get into some of the details. So I guess, how do you feel about how Giving Tuesday went last year? And what were some of your goals that you set for the campaign?
So the goals for the campaign were set prior to me joining the organization, because this is a part of our budgeting process that I was not part of at the time because I wasn't with the organization. But we do budget annually around $80,000 a year to raise through Giving Tuesday, separate from our annual appeal efforts. So that's like a separate budget line. So Giving Tuesday has its own budget line. So what we typically do, the online campaigns you see there, the goal for that is $40,000. And then we actually go to some of our major donors and other board members who may not want to necessarily participate in an online campaign because it's not their style. It's not how they would do outreach to their friends. But they would be interested in doing a match, which I know we'll probably get into a little bit there in a little bit. But basically, we raise about $40,000 through match donors, and then we do the other 40 online. So
Okay.
the match donors, again, are made up of either board members or past board members or other donors, major donors that are willing to give anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, and we kind of like piece it together to get to the 40,000. That basically gives an incentive, and we frame it as them giving an incentive to like the next generation of donors. That's the outreach that our founder does. It's a way for them to like basically get, obviously they're giving us an end of year gift, but that is going to be funneled towards encouraging other people to give as well.
Yeah, okay, cool. No, I think matching gifts are so important. And so like I think that's it's great as part of your strategy, because typically what we see is that when there's a match in place, donors tend to give about 50% more. So that $50 donation in and of itself turns into about $75. And then with that match in place, then you're, really getting a lot of bang for the donors, feel like they're getting bang for their buck, and, you're well on your way to meeting your fundraising goals. And I think that's really interesting that you kind of pitch it as like, yeah, like incentivizing like the next generation of donors, which is really cool. And so I guess with this match in place, what are some of the ways that you try and highlight this and promote this to your donors?
So for the fundraisers they're setting up pages, we give them like email templates and things like that they can use when they're doing outreach. And those templates do include the language related to the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever we're sending emails out to blast emails or anything like that, it includes the fact that there is a match. So, up to $40,000 will be matched thanks to the generosity of some of our, FIRA community or something to that effect, we say. Yeah.
Oh, great. And so yeah, it seems like it's kind of like in lieu of like probably the gift that like you were saying your board would have given, or maybe some of your major donors as well. Probably similar to the gift that they would be making year end anyway, but just kind of incorporating that and pitching it as that match, right?
Yeah, it's a way, it's kind of twofold, right? Because if that person was going to give us $5,000 anyway, but we're telling them that when they give this $5,000, one, obviously we're grateful for the support, but that it's also helping us in this other way because it's actually helping us raise more money from other people. I think it makes that person more apt to say, yes, I'm going to do the $5,000 gift again, or I'm going to do that $1,000 gift again, or maybe they'll go, maybe previous years they did 1,000, but they might increase to 2,000 or 3,000 because they know that like what they're doing is more than it's more than just writing the check. It's actually something that we're leveraging to encourage other people to give too. So I think it makes a lot of them feel like, they're encouraging young people to also give to us. And we do, like I said, when we're reaching out to them or when our founder reaches out to them to ask if they would be willing to participate in that way, for us to use their gift in that way, they are talking and using that language around a lot of most of the fundraisers that are setting up pages and whatnot are younger. And so a lot of those gifts do end up being smaller, anywhere from, $10 or $20 all the way up to a couple of $100, depending on who the person is, obviously. But a lot of our like YPC fundraisers who do pages, I would say the highest gift maybe that they would get is maybe like $250, and it might be like their mom and dad. But like literally any of their coworkers or their friends or whatever, they're giving smaller gifts. So when we're able to share that, when we're able to go to a donor, a major donor, and say, you know, if you give us $5,000, we'll actually be able to double that in essence, because we're able to incentivize all these other people that are giving $20 here, $5 there, to get us to our goal. So I think it makes everybody who's involved feel good about giving, because they know that it's all going to a good cause, but that it's encouraging other people to give as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good, strong point, and such a smart like marketing tactic too, because it's now you have it where it's kind of all like playing off of each other. Your major donors or your board members are giving so that to encourage the younger donors to participate, and sort of vice versa. So,
Right.
It kind of works off of each other. So that's such a great key learning, and such a really interesting thing to build into your campaign as like a primary strategy. So I think you guys are doing that so well. I wanted to really go into for a minute here. I love your appeal. I think it's so strong because you really do very quickly communicate your impact. 1,500 children have experienced the magic of Fiverr. And then you have this quote and this story here that really makes your appeal, I think, stand out. And a very strong call to action as well. So, your donors know that you're looking for donations on Giving Tuesday. So I guess, can you walk me through a little bit more about how you write your fundraising appeal and how you source some of these stories to incorporate into it?
Yeah, so prior to me joining the organization, there were a couple of things that just like as part of the Fiverr culture that we've been able to better leverage in our fundraising efforts. One thing that we have probably in a vast amounts. So at camp every summer, our kids write like thank you letters to our donors. Like we have dedicated time, like once a session, and we have 4 sessions a summer. That kids sit and they'll like write a thank you note to like thank our donors for supporting and making camp possible. We typically pull a couple of those to do like a overall thank you mailing at the end of the summer. No asks, just like sending the camp letters with like a cover letter of some sort, just so people know about like what's been happening, and that outreach goes out to everyone who's given a gift in the previous year. But what that exercise does is that it gives us more things to like glean from throughout the year. So if we do need quotes, things like that, that's one of the first places that we go, is like a very thick stack of camp letters that we have, that, some of them are great, and some of them, are written by a 9-year-old that really wants to just get back to doing something more fun than writing. So they kind of run the gamut. But I will say that like we do get a lot of great content from those letters. So that's one place. And then in particular for this Giving Tuesday campaign from last year, what we did, actually had an intern working with me. And so we basically came up with a script of like questions, and we worked with our program team to identify alumni as well as current Fiverr participants, as well as parents, and interviewed them over the phone and just asked them the same series of questions around, what's their favorite memory of being involved in Fiverr, and for like the parents, like, what is, the impact that you've seen on your child being in our program, that kind of thing. And so we just kind of saved those. And then from there is where we started to pull some of the things. So if you scroll back up on the top of the screen, this banner, those 3 young people in there, they were actually featured in our end of year appeal. But then we made this banner to like make it, be part of the Giving Tuesday campaign as well. But we included stories from those 3, as well as some of our other alumni and current participants. And then we had a quote from one of our parents that was like on the envelope. But all of that to say that like we use those interviews and those quotes in a couple of different places, both for the end of year appeal as well as for Giving Tuesday. And then also in some of the stuff that we did for the benefit, which was our annual fundraiser a couple of months later. but we try to repurpose and reuse as much of those things as we can, just because we have so much content there. It's kind of figuring out like how to use it, not so much do we have something to use. And thankfully, you know, the program team here have like really great relationships with our Fivers and families. So if we need something really quick, we definitely have a well to go to. But I think the targeted interviews and things like that of our participants and alumni and families is what gave us a lot of the content that we used here. In addition, our graduating Fivers, so any of our high school seniors, during summer camp, they do like a speech as kind of like the culmination of their experience. We do public speaking as one of our program offerings as well. And we collect those speeches from them as well. So that's, again, another wealth of content that we have. So actually the quote that is on this page was actually pulled from one of those speeches. Yes, from the graduation speech. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, that's so good that you know, your organization as a whole has kind of built that into you know, your programs and really, yeah, like we were saying, the culture of it, so that you're constantly sourcing these stories, it sounds like, from summer camp to engaging with alumni, and that interview sounds really like you've got a lot of really valuable stories to share. And I think that's just so important, is to be sharing those stories constantly. So, you know, what you've done really well is making sure that, you know, some of that messaging is consistent too. So like even those stories that you highlight at the top, you know, those are consistent with, you know, you're tying into your year-end appeal, but also featured on Giving Tuesday, which I think is really good, so that, you know, those stories are in multiple places and people get to, you know, see that everything's consistent as well, as far as your storytelling goes. So I think you guys do storytelling so well. I'm really impressed with you guys. So, and I know that you've kind of used these stories as well through your personal fundraisers. So some of them are alumni, some of them got the chance to share their own stories on their personal fundraising pages. And so it seems like, you know, like we were saying earlier, you've drawn from alumni, you've also drawn from, you said, was it like your youth advisory board?
So we have a young professionals committee that participates. Some of our current board of directors participate. So like even if we're looking at this page right here, the first 4 people are on our current board, and then the next person, that's our ED. And then the next row, the next 4 people in the second row are all YPC members. Then there's a couple of alumni in there. There's a former board member in there. Like I made a page, a couple other staff members made pages. So it's kind of like a community effort. At a previous nonprofit that I used to work at, we used to kind of strongly encourage all staff members to create a page and at least make a donation of like, or $25 or raise $25. So here we're a smaller team, so it's a little bit different. But I think overall trying to encourage and have everyone have this culture of philanthropy, this culture of giving back at the organization, that whether you're a staff member, an alum, a board member, whomever, that you're participating in some way. And, you know, not everybody's going to be able to do everything, but again, I think it really shows in this campaign, and the same thing that we've been doing the past couple of years of just really opening it up as an opportunity for everyone to get involved, no matter where you're at in the organization. If you're a staff member, if you're a volunteer, if you're a board member, whatever the case may be, that there is a place for you to like support if you want. And even if all you do is set up a page and it's exactly the same thing that feeds from the main page, and you didn't do a stitch of personalization, that is okay. Or there's other people that took the time to put in a little bit more, and that's also fine. So I think it just really all depends on, you know, how deep someone wants to make their page, and then also the kind of follow-up that they do with their friends.
Yeah, amazing. So When you're trying to recruit all of these different fundraisers from different places, I guess, what do your communications look like and how you approach them and asking them to create their personal fundraising page?
Sure. So for our board members, we started talking about Giving Tuesday probably like right into when I started working at Fiverr. So I started at Fiverr in August of last year. So our first board meeting was probably the end of September, beginning of October. So since then we were talking about it. Obviously looking back on anyone else who had participated in Giving Tuesday the prior year. We also did outreach to those people first and then kind of prioritize the outreach for everyone else. So anyone who had made a Giving Tuesday page previous year, they were the first people to be reached out to, asking them if they would be willing to set up a page by a certain date. And then the next level was like other people that we wanted to target who we thought would be either interested in doing a page, or maybe when we reached out to them the previous year, they were too busy at that time and so they weren't able to, or anything like that. So that was kind of like the second tier of outreach. And then finally, the last tier was just kind of like a blast email, giving people the opportunity to kind of opt in if they wanted. I would say obviously the most successful asks were the ones that were like direct. Like if I specifically wrote to the board, or I specifically wrote to an alum, or we kind of split up the outreach. So like I did some of the outreach, our executive director also did some of the outreach, our deputy executive director, who's also our camp director, she also did some of the outreach to alumni. So between the three of us, we did all of the outreach to those different constituencies. And then as people started signing up, then we just kind of decided like who else did we need to follow up with, people we didn't hear back from. So it was kind of the game, that was basically the game plan.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think, you know, I see that a lot too, where, you know, it's more likely that it's that personal ask that I think really makes the difference with peer-to-peer as well. You know, of course, email blasts are great where you're like, hey, everybody just sign up for your personal fundraising page. But, you know, I think it's so important to have that personal touch because, you know, it's all about the relationship with
Yep.
that person then.
Yep.
And they feel personally addressed and personally seen.
Yep.
And, you know, and then that carries over to their page because then they feel like they can personally address others as well and ask them to give. So that's a great insight. And so I guess, what do you feel like went particularly well about peer-to-peer fundraising? Was there any particular fundraiser that surprised you last year? And how do you, what do you think contributed to your fundraiser success?
I would say the most successful people were the ones that used the tools that we gave and just got after it, to be honest. Our top fundraiser is one of our board members. Personality wise, he's really quiet, very humble. Like, I mean, he's an awesome person to work with, but he's very thoughtful about his outreach. He asks a lot of really insightful questions when he's about to do anything for us, like whether it's Giving Tuesday, whether it's his outreach for the benefit, he asks all the right questions and then he's like, okay, I think I can do this. And then he just gets out there and he just like knocks it out of the park. I would say the people that really are dedicated, I mean, it's kind of hard to, when I'm thinking about this for like other fundraisers on this call, you know, it's kind of hard always to like know the personality of your fundraisers, and certainly part of like the learning that I've had over the past year and change, just getting to know our board members really well and like understanding what their sweet spot is in terms of like what they do well. And so for someone like for Eric, you know, once we talk to him about like what it is this is going to accomplish, this is what we, you know, are asking you to do. And he's like, oh, I just have to set up a page. And then like I share it with my friends. I'm like, yes, that is what you have to do. And then like I sent him an email template that he could edit. And then he did it. Like he shared it via email. He also shared it on his Facebook and it just picked up speed and went from there. But I mean, his network obviously is going to be the kind of network that's able to give a bit more than someone, let's say like a YPC member who may not have people that can give $500, $700 on a whim. But at the same time, I think the most successful fundraisers have been the ones that, you know, use the tools that we gave. So I think for anyone that's on this call, thinking about the kind of things that people would need and having them at the ready, which is another piece that I think we improved upon for this year in terms of having template letters, template emails, template follow-up emails, template posts for social media, and like having all those things in one place so that when someone signs up, they automatically get a link to that. So I think thinking through like how someone is going to do this over the next couple of weeks or whatever, and then writing out those communications and like putting in the Dear XXX and like leaving the places for people to personalize and highlighting that and like making it really simple, really easy to just pick up and DIY it for that fundraiser that's doing it on your behalf, so that they don't have to think too hard. Like they don't have to, like if they want to write their own situation, then by all means do that. But like the challenge that I'm sure many of us have is trying to pin down someone who's already volunteering their time and that they have a lot of things on their plate. And like, if they're only going to have 20 minutes to write something, how are they going to utilize that 20 minutes? I would much rather them copy something and paste it, do a couple of edits and hit send to their to their mailing list, and having to sit there and think on end, and then now they have to get back to work. So
Yeah, no, exactly. I think preparing that content ahead of time for them, it just enables them to, promote your campaign easier and most likely more effectively too, because, if they have your stories that you so carefully sourced to work off of and leverage, then they don't have to spin their wheels and go, what am I going to say? How am I going to say this? What is it that even Fiverr wants me to communicate? Because then that's already there for them.
exactly.
So I think that's such a great thing, is creating that fundraiser toolkit so it's just on hand and ready to go. So that's, for those listening in, like something you can start doing right now is start getting your email templates and your social media templates together. So okay, really cool. And so yeah, I want to talk a little bit about promoting your Giving Tuesday campaign. I guess what did your timeline look like for getting it out there? And what did your timeline look for promoting your campaign?
So we started a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving. So basically, I would say maybe a week and a half ago from today, we pretty much started last year, beginning of November-ish, yeah, like after Halloween. We started with trying to recruit people. We didn't wait until actual Giving Tuesday, which I guess we can talk about in a little bit. But for us, we did the donating and kind of the outreach and all that kind of stuff, and people to start sharing their pages to start getting donations with a few weeks runway. Because it's a peer-to-peer, I feel like you have the, I don't say luxury, but you certainly have the room to like do it earlier. Like you don't have to wait until actual Giving Tuesday. Certainly if you decide to just kind of drive traffic to your site, you can probably like send out reminders and then just do that. I've worked places before where they just did that. They didn't do a peer-to-peer, they just drove traffic to the website on Giving Tuesday. And yeah, I think if you want to engage more people, I think the opportunity is there to try a peer-to-peer campaign, because I think if people can get easy wins under their belt in terms of being able to raise some money for the organization, it gives them an opportunity to share with their contacts and whatnot, and a cause that's important to them, even in the very crowded kind of playing field that that Giving Tuesday is these days. There's still an opportunity for brand awareness and people to learn more about your organization through their friend. So even if they're maybe not able to give a big donation or any donation, at the very least, they know your friend is involved in this thing. And so hopefully that'll lead to some other awareness with other things that you're doing throughout the year, but that you're using this as one of the many opportunities that you're giving your volunteers and fundraisers the chance to participate in. So I think in terms of engagement, as well as obviously the fundraising, it just lends itself to being helpful in that way. So in terms of, you asked me about social media, yes. So I mean, I think, getting back to that, but for us, we did blast emails to our donors. We also posted to Instagram, And then we also used our Facebook page. Our organization used to have a Twitter, but we just weren't really leveraging it in the way that Twitter needs to be. So like we no longer have a Twitter. So for the most part, we we shared it on Facebook, we shared it on Instagram, and we did blast emails to our donor base.
Okay, great. And so, yeah, I guess also like you raise funds through Giving Tuesday, and then I guess how did that look like being carried over through the end of the year?
We kept on sending emails, a part of our end of year fundraising. We send a couple of emails throughout the end of the year. Some of them are story based, some of them are like, 5 ways to give to Fiverr. And so we had a couple of opportunities. So one was just like sending a donation. One was like our link that if you want to do, if you're doing your shopping on Amazon, you do smile.amazon and choose us as your nonprofit. Not a whole lot of money, but it's there. And then we had like a link to like buy merchandise on our website, because we do have that for sale. So like we did like some emails that were related to just like overall, how can you give to Fiverr at this time of year, that did have the link to the Giving Tuesday page. And yeah, so we use that. So it was involved in some of the other asks that we're doing through the end of the year. But there was a thank you email that went out to fundraisers. And then there was, I think we did a targeted email just to like everyone who donated to Giving Tuesday, to like thank them and let them know where their support was going. And then overall email kind of post Giving Tuesday, but still giving season emails that went out to the entire donor base.
Okay, great. Yeah, so it sounds like you still kept directing people to the campaign that you created and kind of just like rolled it into your overall communications, which is great.
Yeah, because I mean, our goal with our end of year mailed appeal is that it's going out around Thanksgiving. So at the time that we're doing Giving Tuesday, the mailed appeal is going to the people that typically respond that way. We do still have a large number of our donors that still write checks. A couple will get the letter and then go on the website and make a donation, but the vast majority of the folks that get our mailed appeal are still writing checks to us. So like there's that community of people. And then obviously we have our donors that are a little bit younger or just like choose to like pay online for things more often, like myself. So those folks will be responding to our Giving Tuesday and or getting the letter and donating online. So it's kind of all happening like parallel to each other, or I should say perpendicular to each other. They definitely overlap. And once we get into like say past Giving Tuesday and the rest of the year into, so our fiscal year is a little bit different at Fiverr. So we go until the end of January. We don't have the, I would say the same kind of pressure that some nonprofits have in terms of trying to cash all the checks or like process everything by December 31st. Donors certainly want to get certain things in by the end of the year, but like we are not necessarily as pressed because we just like operate differently. So if anyone's getting anything after that, like they're still mailing us checks, but they certainly can still go online and give to the Giving Tuesday campaign, even though Giving Tuesday has passed. So we leave the end date to be well past Giving Tuesday, and we just leave the campaign open.
Okay,
some people
great.
like to wait until later, like either they're waiting for an end of year bonus or they were just totally busy because the holidays happen, and then you're just like come up for air or something like that around New Year's. You're like, oh, my friend sent me this thing. So you would get like random like donations to it like right before New Year's, like literally on December 31st, we were getting, even a couple of notifications like before midnight, which is weird. But I feel like some people just like woke up and realized they didn't make a donation, and so they did. So for that reason, we don't close the campaign like the day after Giving Tuesday, because that would just be weird. So we just like leave it out until well after.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a great way to do it. And yeah, like sometimes people might even just miss the boat on the day of Giving Tuesday. I think what we even see over here is that the day before Giving Tuesday is really like leading up to it. There's like definitely a spike. and the day after. But of course, like through the end of the year, like there's always so many donations coming in. And just like leaving it open and available is like so key to really like making the most of the campaign, and like kind of just using Giving Tuesday as like a jumping off point for year end.
Sure.
So, okay, cool. And so we have actually quite a few questions coming in. So I want to leave us a few minutes to chat and go over everyone's questions. But I guess I wanted to ask you two more things. So for anyone that is doing Giving Tuesday for the first time, what would be your advice to them?
I would say start with like setting a goal that feels reasonable to you. At my previous nonprofit, I think the first year we did Giving Tuesday there, I think we only set a goal of like $5,000. Like it wasn't something that was crazy big. And we asked staff to participate, but like not a lot of people did. And then that was kind of it. So we did raise the 5,000. Actually, I think we exceeded it. But then the following year, we kicked it up a notch and we said, okay, let's do it for 10,000. And then we opened it up to not just staff, but some parents signed up, and we were able to engage some of the classrooms. So it's kind of like a competition thing. So I would say if you're going to start a peer-to-peer, I would say set a reasonable goal. Something that seemed attainable, and maybe even something that's focused on something specific to your nonprofit. At that organization, we focused on let's see, it was something around health and wellness. So we kept it general enough that we would be able to use the funds raised for that around a couple of different things that relate to health and wellness. So whether it was, paying for the part-time gym teacher that was working there, or, paying for the food that was being prepared for lunch there at the school, or different things that are related to the health and wellness programming at the school. So if there is like a target program at your organization that you could funnel this money to, or set this money aside for, let's say, I say that could be a good way to like kick it off, because then people know exactly, like, yes, they know what your organization does, but if it's, say it's for, college tour trip that you were going to take 30 kids on, and it's going to cost $7,500 to do it, just saying. And so the Giving Tuesday campaign is going to support this college access programming, and that's what it's going to cover. So when people are giving, they know they're giving to your organization, but they also know that it's specifically going to this thing. And then kind of go from there, because then it can start with the college trip this year. And then if it does well, then maybe next year is for our college access programming. And now that's the umbrella, right? So now it's not just the tour, now it's anything related to college access that is a cost center for the organization. It's staff, it's trips, it's incentives for your kids, like it's for literally anything that's related to college access. And then if that goes well, then and it continues to be a thing, you can continue with that umbrella specific thing, or you can just say, now you can just give to us, and it's going to support all of these things, our college access programming, our family stuff, and this and da. So yeah, so I think if you think about it in that way of like building up to something bigger, I think that is a good way to start. If you are a small organization that maybe you don't have a ton of these like different constituency bases to pull from in terms of having individual fundraisers to set up pages, maybe it would make sense the first year to just target it as like, just drive traffic to your website to give around that time. But I would say if there's ways to engage your donors through this, like if you have volunteers that are really active with your cause, if there's a handful of board members in your organization that would be willing to set up a page and use that versus doing handwritten letters. I think it depends on the organization. Obviously, there are some boards that trend a little bit older that maybe they prefer, doing that personalized letter to their friends at the end of the year. Our board here at Fiverr, I would say, is a decent mix of older people as well as folks that are more inclined to send a text message or post on their Facebook or send an email to ask people to support things or to purchase tickets to events or whatever the case. So you just have to kind of know know your groups and know the people that might be willing to be your guinea pigs in a way to like help you test out this fundraising opportunity. But yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I think it's such a great time to try out peer-to-peer. It gives like you the opportunity to give it a try, even with a smaller group of people, like let's just say like a few members of your board, and then even see how you can develop that over the course of the year. And I think what you were talking about, trying to pick a particular program so that like your donors know exactly how their funds are being used, and like having that goal be tied to funding that program. I think it makes it's just so clear to the donor like how they're making an impact with their donation, which is really kind of what Giving Tuesday is all about, is people want to give back because and really know how they're making an impact. So I think as much as you can do that, it really does encourage giving for sure. And I guess lastly, I just wanted to touch on, so you guys have been using CauseVox for Giving Tuesday. And so I know that I think there may have been like 1 year where you guys maybe used something else or maybe just didn't do it, I'm not sure, and then came back. So I would love to hear more about, why you continue to use CauseVox for your Giving Tuesday campaign.
Sure. So funny that you brought up that. So right around the time that I started working here, one of my former colleagues, she had found this other platform that offered similar services for peer-to-peer and things like that, basically for free. But I think like the charge per gift, like on the gift or whatever, the processing fee might have been a little bit higher. And so we had tried it with, I was like, well, let's try it with a different event that was before Giving Tuesday and let's see how it works out. And it just like crashed and burned. And you kind of get what you pay for. If you don't pay for anything, sometimes you don't really get anything in return. And so after that experience with that event, we were just kind of like, yeah, I personally, at that point, that person had left and I was just like, I would prefer to pay for a service that actually works properly, and that I felt would have been better, would have served us better. And so that's why we ended up coming back to use CauseVox for Giving Tuesday, which was like the following month or something like that. And so I particularly like CauseVox, and I had to like make my notes, like it could be a longer list. And this is not like us trying to sell you on CauseVox, it's just me telling my personal experience. I have used other peer-to-peer campaign platforms personally and professionally as well. But I will say that I like CauseVox because I do get to personalize the email. So that same like banner that's on the top of the page, if we're able to put that in the email. This year, I'm trying to test it out that we wouldn't have to send as many acknowledgement letters for some of the smaller gifts. So that'll save us on some paper and postage. So being able to brand the email and whatnot is really nice. I like that we can also edit like the thing that people post when they post their link. So like a similar photo and things like that on the page will then be a part of like the graphic when people put it on like Facebook, for example, or any other site that allows you to put like HTML and it pops up like a preview. So I like that as well. On the back side of that, reporting is really important. Anyone that has to work very closely with their finance team in terms of like making this all make sense at the end. Once you enter into your donor database, that's not the end of it. So I do like the fact that CauseVox reporting does break out the piece of what the donation was versus what the person paid if they opted to pay the processing fee, as well as what was the percentage that got taken out if they didn't, that kind of thing. That really helps my finance team, who is a party of one, to do all of that reconciliation. So I do appreciate that piece a lot. I know she does too. And then, speaking of that, also appreciate the fact that we are able to ask donors to cover the credit card processing fee on our behalf. We use one of the largest nonprofit databases out there. We use Raiser's Edge, Blackbaud product, for other things, and they do not offer that. So if someone is making a donation on our website, like general click the donate button on our website, they cannot opt to pay our credit card processing fee. So being able to drive traffic to CauseVox and people being able to pick up that fee if they so desire, definitely is helpful, especially because it's such a high volume of smaller amounts. So that's definitely helpful. And then what happened last year, which was crazy to me, CauseVox definitely was able to handle the traffic that happens on Giving Tuesday, which I think is really important to note. I am, again, our organization and pretty much every other nonprofit that I've worked at over my career has used Blackbaud. And for the past couple of years, it's not trashing them, but the past couple of years, their products seem to just like fall down on the ground on Giving Tuesday, which is really like it gives me just like anxiety thinking about it now, that like your main mechanism of accepting donations on this day when you're driving traffic to your website is not working. It's happened to me at my most recent employer before here. We did not do a peer-to-peer campaign, and we were just driving traffic to our website, and people were getting a decline thing when they were trying to process their credit cards. So then I had to like go in the back end and like figure out who the people were that were like getting turned away basically, and then just probably left our website because they couldn't make the donation, to reach out to them to go get the donation. So that's a pain. And I know there's a couple of other nonprofits that either I support or know about tangentially that on that day when I got that email, I just wanted to check out their site and see what they were doing, and their pages weren't loading, which is like the embedded page from Blackbaud. So I think I actually emailed you or sent a thank you to you post Giving Tuesday of like I think you reached out to me to ask me how Giving Tuesday went. And then I said like it went really well. And also Blackbaud like probably put a lot of people in a bad way that day because it wasn't working. And they like sent out an email like, so sorry that, it's not working. And like, it's 2 years in a row now that has happened. So if you are considering to do that and drive traffic to your site and you are a Blackbaud like product subscriber, I definitely would consider using a third-party platform. I obviously would recommend CauseVox, but like if you're gonna use, pretty much if you're gonna do it, like look for a third party, because I just feel like Blackbaud hasn't gotten it together yet. And it's really concerning that it's like 2-3 years in a row now that they haven't gotten it together. And they're just too large to be getting it wrong.
Yeah, that's
my spiel on that.
So scary. No, it's so scary because you're like, I really need this to work today, and like this is such an important day.
And it's not, I want to just note that it's not people's website, so it's not like, oh, my organization's website can't handle the traffic. It's not that. It's literally like the embedded forms that come from Blackbaud's site. Anyone who uses Blackbaud knows about Online Express, but like it's literally that form that will not load on your site. So people can get to your website, but then when they're ready to go to the make donation thing, like it's not even loading up to be able to take the information, or it's loading and it's not processing the credit card. So it can become obviously frustrating for a donor if, like, let's say they're getting your email on their phone and they go to quickly like press donate, and then they're not able to process it and they're on the go, and then they're like, oh, I'll get to it later, and then later never comes. So you certainly want your things to work like on time when people are like, oh, let me just look at it on my cell phone. And all of the pages for CauseVox, like they are mobile friendly. So like if someone gets an email from you or gets an email from their friend who is like, hey, I can send a link in a text message. They click the text message link, takes them to the mobile page. They can make a donation real easy. Like I tested it myself on my own page yesterday, and made a donation from my phone. I was able to load up my credit card information that's already saved in my iPhone. Like everything went through really easy. So you want to make it easy for your donors, especially since so many are probably going to be doing it off of their phone. So you don't want them to be caught up in a situation where now they're not able to make the donation because the thing ain't loading right. Like, don't want those problems.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, yeah, I think that's something we really make a priority, is that we want to make it as easy as possible for donors to donate no matter what device they're using. And, also making it less frustrating for the donors, and also, taking away that anxiety from, the fundraisers that are doing their best to promote their page. And making sure that everything is reliable and not clunky, donors aren't confused, and that it's just easy. So even we are going to be coming out with Apple Pay and Google Pay options as well. So that'll be in place by Giving Tuesday too. So make it even easier for people to donate on their phones any way they want to. So if anyone is interested in learning more about using CauseVox for fundraising, feel free to check us out, causevox.com. You can always email me. We can be reached at support@causevox.com, and I'd be happy to give you a little bit more information about how you can use CauseVox for your Giving Tuesday. So I want to get to a couple questions. I know we're kind of running out of time. So there's quite a few questions here. And so one of them is really about like when is too early to start promoting Giving Tuesday. And so I think Raquel was looking at, maybe setting it off 11 days before.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, if you wanted to be in tandem with your end of year appeal, you can certainly wait a little bit. Like, obviously this month would be the month to do it. But in terms of like, if you're looking to recruit people if you're doing a peer-to-peer and you're looking to recruit people to become, to set up their own fundraising pages, I would actually look to do that during the month of October, because you don't have to make, literally if you build a page, like if you build it, people will not come if they don't have the link. So like you could literally have the campaign page live and set up, and then encourage the people, like target your outreach to the people who you want to be fundraisers for the page, and have them set up their pages so that when you do launch, it's not like this blank, like 0 donors, 0 fundraisers, no money raised. It's okay if it only has a couple dollars, but at the very least, if it's like, okay, everyone else is getting in on the fun kind of thing. So I would say, even if you decide that you want to wait a couple of weeks before Giving Tuesday to launch it, if you're planning to do a peer-to-peer, I would do the recruitment for the fundraisers during the month of October, and maybe like giving them a deadline of like Halloween or November 1st or whatever the case may be, that they need to set up their pages by then, so that even if they haven't, like some of my fundraisers did this year, that you've built in some buffer to like follow up on the follow-up. So yeah, so I would say for a peer-to-peer campaign, definitely do recruitment well in advance. I would say the month of October is a great time to hit up everybody. And even if, I would say that maybe the first 2 weeks of October, set up your page, have everything set up, the language, your banners, all that jazz, your giving levels, all of that. And then during that time, once that's done, then start doing your outreach to your fundraisers, so that when it's time, then I think I had reached out to you about like, if I wanted to make changes after the fact, like would it populate to pages that were already created and that kind of thing. So any like major structural changes you can still make, but certainly if people have already personalized their individual page, you can't edit that. Maybe just like banners and stuff. But yeah, so I would build it out a little bit further. If you're only gonna just drive traffic to your site, then I think waiting like 3 weeks before makes sense.
Yeah, okay, great. And Lee asked a great question. She said, when sending out mass emails, after sending out hopefully one-on-one to peer-to-peer fundraisers, how do you avoid coming off as spammy? Because, Giving Tuesday, there's so many emails in your inbox. And yeah, how do you make sure that that doesn't end up in the spam folder and that actually also stands out in their inbox?
Well, I would say if you try to vary what it is you're sending, certainly not sending the same subject line with every single email, because if you have like almost, I feel like all of the inboxes, certainly Gmail, it'll start collapsing the things together if it's the same subject line. So I wouldn't send the same subject line. And then I would also look to try to vary the content a bit. So it could still be a Giving Tuesday email, but maybe it's a client or a service spotlight. So like maybe you're making a focus, like in Fiverr's case, maybe we would highlight an alumni story in the email and say, and then at the end, it would be like, join our Giving Tuesday campaign or make a donation. And maybe the next email will be something that's like a reflection of camp. And then it would have a different subject line, but then like it would still have the same ask at the bottom. So, and then I would look to try to, I would try to space it out, obviously, maybe like once a week, or like if you have something interesting to share. So like if you have like a match sponsor that you want to share that like, thank you to the generosity of these people, now your gifts will be matched 2 to 1, or we have a challenge that like if you like this particular post on our social media that like every like gets $5, whatever, that if you have some sort of like match challenge or something, that's a reason to reach out to people. But at the very least, if you have none of those things and you're just trying to reach out, I would say just try to find a way to like vary the message, that like the ask will be the same, but like whatever the content is, it'll be different. Like you're featuring a kid, or you're featuring a family, or, depending on what it is that you do, you're featuring like a program or whatever the case may be, that people would be interested in like knowing like that their gift will be supporting that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that insight. Another question. So Cortland asked, their new organization in the process of creating social media accounts. Do you have any recommendations for navigating Giving Tuesday without a solid social media foundation?
I would say probably Facebook and Instagram are probably the easiest, because at the very least, if you're making content for Instagram, you can just automatically put it to share to your Facebook, your company's, your organization's Facebook account, without that much of like editing needing to be done. Yes, I would probably start there. I would probably start with with an Instagram and Facebook page. And then I would do some targeted outreach to like the people who are your choir, so to speak, like to the people who are they're always showing up. They're always like your board, your staff members, maybe, the people that you serve. In our case, we have a lot of kids, so certainly our Instagram is more popular with them. Those kinds of people, our alumni, that we're sending targeted emails to those groups to be like, hey, we have an Instagram page, please go and follow us, blah, 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 start sharing it in other emails that are unrelated to social media, unrelated to Giving Tuesday. If you're sending out an email with, the save the date to your benefit, you need to have something on the bottom there that's like, check us out, we have an Instagram, or check us out, we have Facebook. At this point, our Facebook and Instagram are established, so we just have like the little like icons on the bottom of our things. But like if you're looking to like push that more and get more followers, I would say start sharing it with the people who are already like a part of like the inner circle and asking them to share it out. But I would say in terms of using Giving Tuesday stuff, there's also Giving Tuesday as an organization. I think they have a lot of like social media kits and stuff like that. We actually used some of their materials to build out our plans for Giving Tuesday this year. So now we kind of have like a more fleshed out resources thing for our fundraisers. So I would say if you Google Giving Tuesday, like even like getting like that logo that says Giving Tuesday with the red, blue, and the heart in it. Yeah, givingtuesday.org. Yeah. They have like a ton of resources on this site as well too. Like even just getting like the logo, like the hashtag with the heart and the red thing, like you can download all of these things and just make it part of your Giving Tuesday materials in some way, shape, or form. So I would also utilize this as a resource, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like they literally have the Giving Tuesday hashtag thing already, graphic already there. So like my organization, we do not have in-house design support or nothing like that. Like we are just winging it on Canva. So if you do not have InDesign, or you might have marketing people in your organization, but they are focused on the big stuff and maybe not this new initiative, but literally Canva, like anyone can use it. We use it for a ton of stuff at my organization. We use it for so many things. So like you can upload any of those graphics into Canva, and then you can make your things really easy. So I would also utilize those free resources on there too. You can pay for parts of Canva, obviously. You can pay for parts of everything. But I would say Canva is a great resource if you don't have in-house graphics, if you have like really great photos of your programs in action, and you just want to overlay the Giving Tuesday hashtag over it. or put your logo over it or whatever the case may be and use that as a post on social media. Like I made this banner because we were running a little bit behind this year, but like I made this banner in Canva. So these are literally just like a grid thing in Canva that I just threw in those photos. I put in our 20th anniversary logo, and we already had the Giving Tuesday hashtag uploaded as a graphic in our Canva things, and I just made the banner. So like in a pinch, certainly Canva definitely works. And if you don't have, again, if you don't have like a marketing team or a marketing person or whatever the case may be in your organization, Canva makes you look very polished. So I would suggest that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Canva is a great resource, and I would really encourage you to check it out. It's really easy, and you can make really nice looking graphics, especially, yeah, by grabbing those logos right from the Giving Tuesday website. So, okay, amazing. I think that kind of is about it. I might stay on a little bit longer to try and type out some answers to, because we got so many great questions, and but I don't want to keep you too long. I know we're already like 20 minutes over. So thank you
I mean,
so much.
I'm well, if anyone wants to reach out to you or to me, certainly they can reach out to you, they have your information, but if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to share my email if that's okay, Candace, or.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you want, you can post the email in the panelist chat and panelist and attendees chat. So everyone can grab your email if they want, and I'll post mine in there too. So I'm
It's pretty
Candace.
simple. Mine is just melissa@fiverr.org, but I'll put it right here. There.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Melissa. So many great insights. You have such a wealth of information to share from all of your experience. And so I so appreciate you hopping on today and sharing all of this. So yeah, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for still hanging on there. We have like a really big group of people still hanging out. So anyone else that's interested in learning more, I also pasted the CauseVox link there. So feel free to check out CauseVox. Happy to help you run your Giving Tuesday. You can use our free plan even. So, and avoid those fees. So feel free to go ahead and do that as well. So thank you everyone. And thank you so much, Melissa. I so appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Just one other thing, because I saw somebody posted asking us about our happy hour that we're doing this year.
Oh, okay.
So that's new. This is the first time we're doing that. It was an idea that our YPC came up with. So they're hosting a happy hour. We do not know how it's going to go, so I do not know how many people are going to attend. But our hope is that we'll have around 30 to 40 people. We're opening it up to anyone, whether it's board members, YPC members who obviously, trend younger, board members, anyone, and volunteers, whomever. $20 wristband, there's going to be drink specials there, and then any money that's raised from the wristbands or anything like that will be going towards our Giving Tuesday overall pot. That's basically what that's going to look like. And we're doing it on actual Giving Tuesday, so December 3rd.
Oh, great. That's so cool. I love that idea of incorporating a live, like, in-person event too, because you do, mailings and of course, online and then in-person events are super cool too. So good luck with that. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear more.
I will. All right, now I have to go for real, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Have a good one and happy Giving Tuesday when it comes. Bye.